How do you bounce back from a difficult loss in Nashville?
Well, we got back to work today. We traveled yesterday, so not much we can do there. We kind of, as coaches, watch it again, go through the parts that you may want to bring up to the players. I think the general message this morning, well, I don't think, I know what it was, this is becoming a trend where our starts are digging us into a hole, and where some nights we're able to get out of it, some not, but as you go along, the good teams will put you away. That's that simple to me. So let's get back to starting on time. And after that, talked about puck battles. Went in our favor in the third period. Late in the second, we started going a little bit. Like Dorofeyev's first goal is a good example of that. We win a race, good D zone. We chip a puck out. We win a race, a battle, make a play, score. Like that's our type of game, and we didn't do any of that the first half. So going back to the previous part of your question. Get on the ice today. We can start working on Carolina and put Nashville behind us. It's over. There's too many games in 82-game season to dwell. We got to sort of worry about what Carolina does well, and that's they're in your face, pressing hockey. You got to manage the puck play north and win some races.
Is the start issue that you brought up, is it physical or psychological?
Well, it was physical in Nashville. We didn't make a play. Guys fought the puck. We didn't win any races and battles. So to me, that's the physical part of it. Some days it's mental. You're sloppy or you miss an assignment. So it can be both. I don't think I would pin ours on one or the other. I will say this, Gary, I think for the time I've been here, we tend to be a little slower than some teams starting because we're a team that likes to handle the puck. I believe that. We like to make plays, so sometimes it takes us a little while. We're not just chip and chase and run their D and get some offense that way. I mean, we had lines that can do that, but in general, we need to feel the puck a little bit. I think that's why. But once we're going and we have felt it, I think we're a very good team, so that's the trade-off and why we've had some comeback wins because we can, we have enough ability to make plays even if we get behind, and we're never out of a game. And we kind of showed that the other night in one of our poor first halves. We were probably, if there's 2 more minutes left in the clock, I think we might have tied that game up.
The next 2 seasons are going to be, well, this year and next year, are going to be condensed, and figuring out a way to deal with the schedule, because you can say it's an excuse or whatever, but teams are clearly tired.
I'm not using it as an excuse.
No, I know you're not, but teams are tired all across the league, and there are some weird games are popping up. Is that something that you just have to kind of fight through?
I think so, and I do believe it affects every team because I watch games. And I go, that's one of the, you know what I mean? Like I see teams that you expect to be dominant every night they'll look sleepy or they have a game that they don't look like what they should look like, and I do believe that's the schedule. The travel, there's less opportunity to probably adjust dates in the season, so the travel becomes even not just the fact you're flying to a city, but you're going back. We did what was the Winnipeg, Edmonton, Minnesota. That order was kind of backwards to me. So there's some things like that. There's only so many dates you can get games in, so you still got to do the travel, but usually it's a little cleaner, I guess, in terms of the distance. But I just think that's every team has to go through it. Salary cap can limit your depths at times too. Now that's been around for a while, but certainly the way the teams build their roster now, sometimes they're only going with 22, 21, so they don't have extra players, or they're limited what they can do with that spot. So there's a little bit of that probably mixed in here and there, but I just think it's the same for everybody, and it's because of the 4 nations and the Olympics. They're just you lose whatever it is, 12 days or 14 days of ability to play. And what's the All-Star game usually? 3 or 4 days. So it's you're jamming more games in.
How many texts have you received with the number 94 in it in the last couple of days?
I got one. I told you I wasn't sure what it meant, and you helped me with that, so I appreciate that. I was just going to let it go, and I was like, okay, I missed that one over my head again. But
you have been ranked at number 94 in the most powerful and influential people in hockey. What's that mean to you?
Well, that's kind of cool, to be honest. I would have never guessed I would be on that. Most coaches probably, I'm guessing, aren't. I shouldn't say that. Maybe there are coaches on there, but at the end of the day, it's kind of cool. I asked you this. Well, who's 93? Who's 92? Who do I got to? Who do I get? Who's in front of me? You know me. I like to be competitive. So, but yeah, it's an honor.
Hey, on the slow starts, coach, is it a bit of a slippery slope that they know they're a good team?
Yes.
they've been able to come back and win a lot of games.
Yes.
So how do you bridge that gap?
Well, you got to be careful because that is part of our makeup, as I said. So it's a little bit of who we are. It's the end. Like, if you play 30 minutes well and don't play the last 30 minutes well, is that better? I mean, I don't think so, right? So you got to be a little bit of, okay, until you get a 60-minute game, and nobody really plays those in January every night, you're going to have a couple that you're on top of it. But it's typically not that way at this time of the year. Guys are beat up. They're a little tired here and there. So those come later in the year when you're prepping for the playoffs. So I think there's a little bit of, hey, remind them. But, at the end of the day, if it's always resulting in a loss, of course, but we've won a lot of hockey games. We're a good team. So we find a way to get to our game. And I guess that's how I try to address it. Let's get to our game quicker, constantly, so that maybe it's not a whole 30 minutes or period, it's 6 or 7 minutes. And by the first time out, maybe okay, let's go. So we're just trying to build it closer and closer to the start of the game.
You guys haven't had these spirals that I see other teams have. You lose 10 of 11, 14 of 15. How have you been able to avoid that?
Well, we're in one right now. I mean, it's 3 of 4, right? So this is how it could end up one if we're not careful. So how do you avoid them? You acknowledge how you need to play. The players have to recognize that, details are what usually you lose, and then the rest of your game slips. And I'll say this, I don't see our details were not good in Nashville for half a game. I think with the Rangers, still a 2-1 game where we got going, and I think Shesterkin was very good. We were clearly the better team the last 40. But the Islander game was one I thought we were flat in the way they played and were desperate for points and checked after it was 1-0. So that you'll probably see more of as teams know that the points second half of the year, you don't have as many dress rehearsals, so to speak. So that's the good news. I don't see us, 7-5 or, what I mean? It's, okay, we need a puck bounce here or there, and hey, we had a disallowed goal against the Islanders, right? If we're a foot on 3 inches more on side, we have the lead. Maybe, the Rangers, I thought we hit 2 clean posts, and beat them. Didn't go in. So there's a little bit of that. You can't, how are you losing? Is the game still in decent shape? The Nashville game, the first half wasn't, second half was. So I just don't want to become that team, the Jekyll and Hyde team like Nashville, where we don't know what we're getting. Let's be predictable, and I think we're good enough most nights that we will avoid those because, hey, we can play either goalie. We're a strong defensive team, so you should be in every game.